What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Spaceballs here. Today we're playing Calibria Crystal Guardians. Today we're gonna be going over three-star champions that you can build early game and also use them late game. But before we get into the video, I just want to start off by saying I'm sorry that the video was late today. We had a maintenance break on all servers. My maintenance break ended up being about 4 hours. I think it was only supposed to be about 2 hours, but it ended up being about 4 hours. I want to start off by saying that these are three champions that I think you can use early game and late game. They're in no specific order or anything like that. I know there's a lot of other three-star champions that are also viable. These are just three-star champions that I think that you can use in a team that I think are viable early game and late game. So I know there's going to be a lot of opinions on this, which is awesome. So just leave your opinion in the comment if you think there's better ones or if you think there's ones that you would, build first or anything like that. But like I said, it's just three-star champions that I think you can use early and late game. So with no further ado, guys, let's get into it. And the first one up on the list, I think you guys can guess. I think everybody can guess who this one is. The first one is going to be Mrs. Wind Walker. Now, she is absolutely amazing. She's more like a 5-star champion in my book. Her skill, the one skill that you're mainly going to use her for, is absolutely amazing. The thing with her is she can actually either move first on your team or she can move last on your team. But you want to make sure she's either one or the other. You want to make sure she's either moving first or moving last. She can move. You can have a slower team, make her super fast, and have her move first, and then boost the turn meter of all your team, and then they'll move after her. Or you can have your team, the rest of your team, be super fast, and have her move last, and then boost the turn meter last. So this way she gives them a second turn. Now I recommend having her move first, but some people like to have her move last. Either way you do it is fine, but I think that you should have her move first. So now let's get into her skills here. She's actually got great skills. We're going to start off with the third skill. Send forth a blessed breeze, which grants 30% energy to all allies and hastes them for 3 turns. Now, this skill here is what makes her who she is. It's absolutely amazing. You don't want to use the other 2 skills underneath it. If you're going to use Windwalker, you want to make sure you're using this skill on her. This is what she is known for. This is what she's great for. It's one of the best skills in the game, I think. I mean, I haven't seen anything quite close to it. So if you're going to use Windwalker, make sure you have this skill active. This is the skill you want to use. It's probably one of the best skills in the game, from my opinion. The next skill here restores 15% HP and 100% energy to an ally. So now if you have her moving first, after she takes her first turn, boost the turn meter, your whole team moves, the boss moves or the enemy moves, and then on the second turn she can actually give somebody, like your attacker, if he's really slow, she can actually give him an immediate turn and he's going to move right away again. So this is actually an amazing skill. I actually think this is more of like an arena skill. Very good for arena, because if you have like a slow farmer, you can bring her with your slow farmer and have her let your attacker or farmer, whatever you want to call him, and have him move right after her so she can boost his turn meter to 100%. He can move and then wipe the whole team out. So as you can see, like, her kit synergizes very well, and then that goes right into the first skill here. Spin a small vortex at an enemy to deal 355% attack and damage, 75% chance to slow the target for 2 turns. So now she boosts up your turn meter and slows down their turn meter. So it's just a great kit. Like, her kit makes so much sense. Everything meshes very well together. I wouldn't recommend building her for damage, even though it says 355% attack and damage. I wouldn't recommend building her for damage. You actually want her to be very tanky. So now that we went over the skills, and these are actually the 3 skills that I would use on her, like, in every situation. I wouldn't recommend using these other 3. I mean, you can if you're going to use, like, for certain things, maybe like in the lair and stuff. But if you're going to use her in dungeons and you're going to use her in arena, you actually want to go with these 3 skills right here. So I'm not going to go over the other 3 skills, because I think that these are the 3 main skills you should be using on her. So as far as runes go, you want to make sure that she's super fast. For me, she's going to move first on my team. You want to make sure she's super fast. I mean, if you're going to have her move last, obviously she doesn't have to be that fast. But for me, the way I'm going to explain her, I'm going to make her move first on my team always. So you want her to be super fast. So I would think that you would want to go with a swift set. I think Swift Set is best for her because that's going to give her the most speed. So on slot 2, you definitely are going to want to go Speed Rune, and you're going to want to go Swift Set. And now you can pair this with any 2 set after that. It could be defense, it could be HP, it could pretty much be anything. It could be accuracy for her first skill. She's pretty much very flexible with her as far as the runes go. So as long as you have her super fast, any 2 set after that is totally fine. I like to go HP or defense because I like her to be super tanky, especially because she's a 3-star. So you definitely want to make sure that she's tanky enough to take hits, otherwise she'll end up dying super fast. So we'll go over the runes that I have on her. I have a slot 2 speed. I got a little bit of hit percentage, attack, defense, and crit damage. For the slot 3 rune, we got HP, and crit rate. We don't really need the crit rate too much, but I feel like you can have crit rate on any champion and it's not going to hurt because it's just going to give more damage in your overall run, which will make your run faster. Slot 4, we got HP percentage. Again, we want her very tanky, or as tanky as we can get her. Slot 5, we have HP, and then we have innate speed. I would rather that speed not be innate, but this is actually very good because it has 18% defense, resistance, and HP. And now you guys can see, like, the way I'm going with her is just fast and tanky. I'm not worrying about damage. I'm not worrying about attack. I'm just worrying about making her super fast and super tanky. And now the same thing, the slot 6 rune, we have defense because we have HP on slot 4. So now we want to make sure we have some defense on slot 6. So you can either go, HP on slot 6, defense on slot 4, or the way I have it, slot 4 HP and slot 6 defense. And slot 1 here, we got hit percentage, defense, and resistance. Resistance is very good on her as well. So if they try to, she can resist the debuff. So she won't get a defense break, so she won't die as fast. So it's good to have resistance. And I like to put a little bit of hit percentage on her for her first skill, so she can slow down the boss. So that is the Windwalker. She's absolutely amazing. You can build her early game. You can use her mid game, straight into late game, and then you can use her forever. She's a champion that you can feel free to build and not have to worry about wasting your resources building her. Definitely build her. She's amazing. Next one on the list is going, and remember, these are in no specific order or anything like that, guys. It's just 3-star champions that I think you can build early game and use them late game. Next one on the list is my man, the Mummy. Now, once again, the Mummy is absolutely amazing. I love this guy. He's been super vital to all of my teams. His kit, again, makes total sense. Everything in his kit meshes, and I feel like that's what makes these 3-stars so viable, is that just everything in the kit makes sense and everything meshes together so well. So we're going to start off with the 3rd skill again. Attacks all enemies with advantage to deal 125% attack and defense to each enemy. Poisons the target two times for 2 turns. Absolutely amazing. This guy gets up so many poisons in like a couple turns that it kills the boss so fast. Like, he makes my C10 and my Leviathan runs so much faster. Like, when I take him off the team, my runs are so much longer. So, like, for me, he's very vital. He's actually going to be my next 6-star because, like, that's how good he is. And you can use him anywhere in the game. You can use him in the lair. You can use him, in the spirit or like the outer worlds. You can use him in anywhere in the game. You can use him in campaign. Feel free to build this guy. You can use him anywhere. And the 2nd skill again. Each attack deals 90% of attack and defense and damage. 25% chance to poison the target for 3 turns. Now, once again, he is a poison machine. Every skill this guy has, he's putting up poisons. Absolutely amazing. Poison, 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 poison. And early game, poison is very important to have in your dungeon runs. It makes the runs go so much faster. And now at his 1st skill, slash at the enemy with a poison sword to deal 190% of attack and defense in damage. 80% chance to poison the target for 1 turn. Once again, poison machine. The guy just keeps putting up poisons after poisons after poisons. Now, I like to have my counterattack runes, plus I use them with the Druid, so he puts up a counterattack as well. So he's always constantly hitting with his 1st skill, so he's always constantly putting up a ton of poison. So I would definitely recommend putting this guy on a counterattack set, which we'll get into that in 1 second. Now, I'm only going to go over the skills that I would use on him. I mean, I think he's got another good skill. 30% chance to poison, burn, and bleed effects. We don't want to use that yet. No, we don't want to use that. And we don't want to use that yet because we're not using him for damage. We're going to be using him for poisons only. So you definitely want to stick to these 3 skills right here because you only want to be using this guy for poisons. You don't want to use him for damage or anything like that. You just want to use this guy to put up poisons. So you want to make sure he has a lot of hit percentage on it. Let's get into the rune page so I can show you guys. So I can show you how mine runed. There he is here. We'll pull him up here. We'll go with slot 1. So now slot 1, we got HP, defense, crit damage. Again, the crit damage is useless. We have this on him for the HP and the defense. And again, I like to make all my champions fast. So early game, you're going to see that a lot of my champions are always going to have a swift set because I like my champions to be at least over plus 150 speed because I feel like they take more turns that way. And then if you're going to pair it with the Windwalker, then they're going to go up to 200 speed. So you definitely want to make sure that you're synergizing your speed. So if you're going to go with a speed team, make sure you're using swift sets. That's just the way I feel. Slot 2, as always, speed, hit percentage, crit damage, attack, and HP. Now having attack on this guy doesn't really hurt too much, but again, you don't really need it. It's just the only speed rune I have at the time, and I don't want to put like an amazing speed rune on him because he doesn't really need it. So now slot 3, we have attack, HP, hit percentage, defense, perfect. Everything but the attack is absolutely perfect on this rune. Now we have him on slot 4. We have HP, speed 14. This rune actually rolled amazing. I'm probably going to switch this rune to somebody else eventually. Defense and crit damage. Once again, we don't need the crit damage, but if you can see, like, at least 3 of the main stats are synergizing, and that's the most important thing, is to make sure that you're synergizing your stats. It's very important that you do that on all of your champions, not just, 3-star champions. Any champion that you're building, whether you're building them for your stats, it's very important. Slot 5, we got HP, then we got defense, speed 11, HP and resistance. As you guys can see, I have a lot of speed on him because his base speed is so low that it takes a lot of speed to get this guy up to like 150, 160 speed. So that's why I have so many like good speed runes on him, because it takes good runes to make him, like really viable. I'm not saying early game you need like amazing runes, but he definitely needs good runes to be, viable throughout the game. Slot 4, we have hit percentage. The reason I have hit percentage on him is because he's a poison machine. So someone like him that's going to be putting up a ton of poisons, you definitely want to make sure that you have a lot of hit percentage, which is accuracy. You definitely want to make sure that you have a lot of that on him. So that's why I went slot 6, hit percentage. Eventually I want to switch this to like HP or defense, but for now I can't get enough hit percentage. So for now I'm going to have to lose a little bit of tankiness, and that's why I have a 6-star HP rune on him to make up for that. So this way he's still going to be tanky enough with that, slot 6 hit percentage rune on him. So as long as you make up for that, you can put the hit percentage rune. It's not a problem at all. And we'll go over his, I'll just show you so we'll go over his main stats here. So he's got, if you see here on the left, he's got plus 70 speed, plus 10,000 HP, plus 200 attack, and then plus 300 defense. The defense is very low. I would like to get the defense a lot higher. For now, it was the best I can do. He actually doesn't die that much anymore, so he's actually doing very well. And remember, he's still not even a 6-star yet. So I think once I get him 6-star, he'll actually be fine with this build. He's only at plus 46 hit percentage. Once I max out the slot 6 rune, that should have him right around the 75 mark, which I think for dungeons, that's all you need is like plus 75. I don't think you need to go up to 100 in dungeons. So once I max out that slot 6, he should be fine. I have him on a 2-piece counter, so this way every time the boss hits him, he counters and he gets up another poison. So now he gets up 2 poisons on his turn, and he gets up another 2 poisons when he counters. So that makes him just like a poison machine, so he's always getting poisons up. Once again, the mummy is absolutely amazing. You can build him early game, you can use him mid game, and you can use him late game. He's a champion that you will use throughout the entire game, so feel free to build him and just have a good time with him, because he's absolutely he's really a lot of fun, and he's just a great champion. I actually love the mummy. I stand by the mummy. The mummy is absolutely amazing. He's great. And now the last one here was actually, like, I was going back and forth with a couple of them, but the one that I want to go with is actually the Goblin Engineer. The Goblin Engineer, I believe, is another one that is absolutely amazing. And the reason I'm also going with these 3 specific ones is because you could put these 3 on the same team with like, with like a healer and a defense down, and they actually make a great team together. So the Windwalker, the Mummy, and the Goblin Engineer actually make a great team on the same team. So that's another reason why I went with these 3 Pacific champions. Now the Goblin Engineer, once again, He's absolutely. We'll start with the third skill. He's absolutely amazing. He's got a skill that does damage off of max HP, so he does massive damage to bosses. So that makes him super viable late game. And somebody that does damage based off of max HP, you only need to stack crit damage. Crit damage and crit rate. You don't need to stack attack on him. A lot of people get confused and they stack attack. You don't want to stack attack on this guy. You want to stack crit damage. Crit damage and HP. You don't want to stack attack because attack does not affect max HP damage. So make sure that you're stacking crit damage and crit rate. No attack. He does not need attack. He needs crit damage. Lots and lots of crit damage. So the passive here, we got at the start of each turn, 70% chance to increase own attack and crit rate for 2 turns. That's an amazing passive because he's not wasting a skill. It's just at the start of every turn. And you can actually get this up to 80, 90. You get this up to 100%. So at the start of every turn, he's going to put up an attack buff and a crit rate buff. So now you don't have to worry so much about putting crit rate on him. You could just stack a ton of crit damage on him. And he's going to hit super hard. He's going to hit the giant and the Leviathan really hard. So with that passive, just makes him so much better, makes him even better. So it's a great passive because you're not wasting a turn every single time you want to put up your attack and crit rate buff. Because sometimes like when they have this skill, you have to use the skill and then you have to wait another turn to use the second skill. And the second skill here is actually his bread and butter. Detonate a self-made explosive to attack the enemy, deal 460% attack and 18% of the target's max HP and damage. Sacrifice 10% of own HP to use this skill. Now, the max HP damage, and like I've seen other people use him, he does huge damage, guys. Huge damage. The more crit damage you put on him, the more damage he's going to do. And now with his passive, you don't have to worry so much about crit rate. You get him around like the 40-50 crit rate mark, and just stack as much crit damage as you can, and this guy is going to hit like a truck. He really is. He's going to hit just like the Lynch does. He's going to hit hard. So with that skill alone, I feel like he's viable everywhere in the game. He's going to be viable in the lair. He's going to be viable against any boss that you go up against. No matter where you use the Goblin Engineer, he's going to be amazing. He's a 3-star once again, so you're going to have to make sure you're building him tanky. So along with stacking crit damage, make sure you're stacking HP. That's why I say don't stack. You don't need attack too much because you're really going to be going for the second skill. So make sure you're putting a lot of HP on him because you want him to survive, especially the fact that he's going to sacrifice 10% of his HP. So make sure you're putting HP on him as well. He's definitely going to need it. This is one of those champions where you want to stay, like, you would normally want to put defense too, but I would recommend putting as much HP on him as possible. And then behind that, crit damage. So crit damage and HP is what's going to make him hit the hardest. You don't need to put attack on him. You do not need to stack attack. You're going to be using him for this second skill. So you're going to be making sure that you stack crit damage and HP. And the first skill, attack an enemy with the wrench to deal 385% of attack and damage, 40% chance to reduce the target's defense for 2 turns, which goes up to a 50% chance. Once again, amazing first skill. Not only do you have a max HP damage skill, now you have a backup defense break as well. So now you can see why I think the Goblin Engineer is so viable early and late game. I'm actually getting ready to build him myself so I can use him with the Lynch together, and I feel like with them working together, I could probably one-shot the boss on my first turn. So now let's get into his runes, like rune sets that I would use on him. I actually don't have him built. Let me see if I have a copy of him. I do have a copy. I'm getting ready to build him now. I would go once again with him early game. I would go speed. Once I would get later in the game, I'd probably go with like, let me see here. I'd probably go with would either counterattack to put up his Berserk runes. Yeah, I would go Berserk runes, counterattack runes. You could do guard runes. You could do blessing runes. You could do defense runes. And you could do speed runes. I would recommend a speed set as always, and then I would go with like a 2-piece set of blessing or counterattack on him. If you have the Berserk runes, you can also go with those. Early game, you're probably not going to have them, but late game, it would actually probably be really good to have him on Berserk runes because then he could just keep recycling that second skill. So if he doesn't one-shot the boss, he can get another turn really fast and then eventually take him down in the like the same cycle of turns. So you'll still be killing him super fast. But early game, you're probably not going to have Berserk runes. That's why I didn't really want to say that. But I would recommend going agile, and then a 2 set of blessing or a 2 set of defense. Just because you definitely want him tanky because you want him to survive. Because if he's going to be really squishy because he's a 3-star and he's attack based. So you definitely want to make sure that he's super tanky. But feel free to build this guy. He looks absolutely amazing. I'm going to start building him myself. But I know because I've seen from other videos that he does hit super hard. He hits just as hard as the Lynch does. So you definitely can build this guy 100% and not have to worry about him losing his value as you get through the game. You can use him throughout the entire game and not have to worry about building a champion and then him not being useful once you get later in the game. You'll be able to use him everywhere. So I think that's gonna pretty much do it. We'll make sure we went over everything. Yes, we did. So pull back up the Windwalker here. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, if you guys, any 3-stars that you guys like to use, early and late game, just leave it down in the comments. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for all the support. The support's it's been amazing. I really appreciate it. Just remember, once we get to that 500 sub mark, I'm going to do an amazing giveaway for you guys. I can't wait for that. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Spaceballs out. Peace.